Hello, welcome to our channel. I have Chris and Patty on from a product called C60 they developed, and I'm excited. I don't endorse very many health-related products. I just don't. But when I go to the National Institutes of Health and they show me a study that says this product has almost doubled the age in rats, and it starts talking about increasing all kinds of things like CoQ10 and products like that, I started trying it. And let me tell you, I can't pry this out of my wife's hands. I can't pry the lip gloss out of my wife's hands. And I had to beg her to bring this up, one of your products. And there's so many duplicate C60s. That's what was so confusing. Is China's coming out with this garbage, and I don't know what it's going to do to you. Maybe it'll grow you a new leg or something, but you got to go to the original product because they developed it. They know what they're doing. Like if you put it in safflower oil, you ruin it. So this whole study was based on C60 being in olive oil, but now they're trying it in coconut oil, and the results are, oh my God. I mean, we're talking about some real health benefit. I wish I'd have known this before I took liquid Advil and broke out with all these
Ugh.
boogie diseases. Oh my God, liquid, oh my God. Anyway, how did you create it? Why did you create it? And what I mean, the evidence is it increases all kinds of antioxidants, glutamine, CoQ10, dismu. I mean, when we're talking about doubling the age of rats, and for the National Institutes of Health to admit it, they don't admit these things. This is remarkable. So go ahead. Patty, what is this product? Why did you create it? I mean, it's a great semiconductor for electronics, but in human bodies, it's doing amazing things.
It is doing amazing things. And the 90% life extension test was called the 2012 Paris Bhakti study. And
Yes.
they did use the product from our lab. It was this formula right here, which is organic
Okay.
extra virgin olive oil, and the molecule that we make in our lab in Houston, Texas, called C60 Evo's ESS60. And the ESS60 is the human and pet version of what used to be industrial grade C60 that Chris and Robert have been making for 34 years in their lab in Houston, Texas. And all of the divine peer-reviewed research that has proven to be, like I said, 90% life extension for the lab rats is the longest longevity study results in history on lab rats.
Yes.
Plus, they died
Yes.
without any tumors for the first time in
Yeah, no
history.
cancer.
Well, we can't make that claim, but Chris has a good explanation. And when he started in 34 years ago, even though he doesn't look old enough, they were making industrial grade C60, which was worth more than gold per ounce. So it is a
Hmm.
really hard molecule to bring to manufacturing point of being sellable. And they've been doing it expertly for 34 years in Houston. So it wasn't until the last 6 years, 10 years maybe, that they started finding out that it's not toxic. It's fabulous for longevity and also helps with not having cancerous tumors. And it's our product from our lab that delivered these results. I will let Chris explain how they started and how it evolved to be for people.
One
Yeah,
comment,
well, yeah, go
it
ahead.
stops cells from turning into fat cells. I'm reading this NIH study, and it says it stops cells from turning into fat cells. I'm
Yeah,
like,
no, the molecule is absolutely amazing. And Patty just mentioned not having cancer. I will throw in our FDA disclaimer. The FDA has not evaluated our product. It is not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent any disease. We will be sharing some anecdotes. I mean, that is a paper, yes, on test subjects, and that's fantastic. That's where we hang our hat. And still, we have a lot of work to do to bring these into human trials. We're also the only lab, well, one of the only labs that's doing research on this, and the only lab that's publishing, continuing to publish. So it's pretty fantastic. Yeah, a typical Wistar rat lives about 32 months and has a known amount of tumor mass in its body. The longer it
right.
lives, the more tumor mass it has in its body. The C60 Evo rats lived out to 62 months, which is 90% longer
Wow.
than than the control group, but none of them had any tumors. And I've told that story before, and kind of like Patty alluded to, people will share, oh, it's a cure for cancer. And our response is no. And then we follow that
No.
with another no, it is not. There's a big difference between dealing with a cancer that has metastasized and being what's called a cancer preventative. We know things as simple as good nutrition, good exercise, good sleep are cancer preventatives. That piece of the study throws this ESS60 molecule into that arena of being a cancer preventative. And we've got more work to do. So yeah, I don't know if you wanted to steer this a particular direction. You've got
Well, no,
your
let me answer that. 1932, they passed a law and started the American Cancer Society. Nothing cures cancer, but there are a lot of products that can help your body heal itself. MS, CP, autism, Alzheimer's, cancer. We've seen all these products that help reverse it. This C60 is one of those most incredible products that the NIH, they don't endorse it, but their studies sure do, in my opinion. But we cannot say in any way that anything cures anything because Congress passed a law that says there is no cure for anything. So, yeah, but I'll tell you what, you can sure reverse it. Anyway, you can sure prevent it.
Hmm.
So go ahead. I'm sorry. I had to say that because um, that's what the lawyers tell me.
Yeah,
We
no,
can't cure anything.
and that's us being prudent for sure. I think
Mhm.
it's important to note, right? What are we talking about, right? We're talking about this ESS60 molecule. I'm holding up a model. If you're listening,
Like a
imagine a
soccer ball.
soccer ball where the lines on the soccer ball represent the bonds between the carbon atoms. So you have a spherical molecule of 60 carbon atoms. It was discovered in 85. The scientists who discovered it won the Nobel Prize for that discovery in 96. And the molecule is absolutely amazing, including being responsible when it's dissolved in olive oil for the single longest longevity experimental result on mammals in history. A lot of
Wow.
supplement companies, by the way, our most consistent testimonial is people take it in the morning, they report mental focus and energy during the day, and then better sleep that night.
I will say this, and I've read an awful lot about this, and I didn't realize it till I started taking your pills. When you eat a little oil in the morning, you can go a long time without eating. And
Yeah.
I went till about an hour ago. I didn't eat last night at 5, and then I started eating today. But I had one of your pills, and that oil, it's olive oil, and it makes you not hungry for a long time.
That's the second report of that today. It's also the second report that, because we did another show earlier today where they had to wrestle the face products away from their spouse. So you're in good company when it comes to wrestling from spouses and experiencing some hunger satiation.
Yeah, I'm very happy since it doesn't allow cells to turn into fat cells and it makes your hunger go away. Forget Ozempic.
So,
Literally. I mean, we're looking
so
at natural things.
he said
Go
that
ahead.
when my wife puts this on her body, she smells like candy.
I'm gonna go check that out today.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I got to tell you, we've got all these kind of secrets in our products, but a lot of it is about the aromatherapy because that's very real. We've got all these senses.
Yes.
We may as well use them. And our products really do honor the senses, such as the facial serum that both of you probably will wrestle your wives over. But
Yes.
Chris usually puts it on during our shows. All of our products are men, women, everything in between. We find that everybody uses them because they're not they are scented, but they're scented in ways that make people feel better, such as the body cream that my friends all say they want to take a bath in. It's a tangerine scent, tangerine and citrus, and it's really fragrantly wonderful, kind of stays on for a while. But the reason that you put the oil, the lotion on your body is it makes you feel happy. And the facial serum with rosemary. The one thing about this is that it's all natural and vegan, organic products, 19 of them put together. But this facial serum, you can actually feel it almost, your skin feels different the first and second mornings. You'll just go, wait a minute, nothing works this fast. But this one does. It's got a base of chia seed oil, which I've never heard of in anything
Okay.
else, plus a couple of our organic oils blended into the formula. I believe it's the olive oil and the coconut oil. But boy, oh boy,
Okay.
It works. And my partners, being a bunch of men in a lab, Chris is in the lab now because he's got his lab coat on, obviously. They were kind of making fun of me because I said, you got to do a skin product for the face. And next thing I know, they loved it so much, they're all using it. Their wives are saying, bring me home some because you look better. Chris calls me a year later and he goes, well, the guys and I came up with yet another facial serum. And this is the Youth Renew Duo. The reason there's two bottles is because we are so picky about not using emulsifiers and chemicals. Chris is modeling, which he usually does. You blend it in the palm of your hand each time you use it because that's the bottle of peptides, which is a lotion. And this one is lotion, one is water. And so oil and water don't mix. So we have two separate ones. And if you freshly activate in your palm, you're going to have the best results, which Chris is doing. When he takes his glasses off, you'll see that this guy, 56, doesn't look a day over 56. No, I'm kidding.
It's funny how that works.
Let's see,
But
35.
I mean, really, he looks pretty young, and he's always modeling on the shows because I'm always talking. But the product's work is the point. Our olive oil that's been used in all the peer-reviewed studies, it actually received the Nobel Prize in 1996 for its excellence in industrial applications. So this was just a C60 molecule. Three different scientists in Houston received the Nobel Prize for it, but our lab was making it for 5 years, so there's a good chance that Chris and Robert were college boys, so they didn't keep track of who bought their products. But it did win the Nobel Prize back then when we were making it in Houston. And I believe that we are the oldest lab in history manufacturing this amazing molecule. And industrial applications are tires, ink, batteries, nothing you'd want to put in your body. But you were saying before the show that you've been reading that there is so much crap C60 products on
Oh
the
my God. They're even selling it on Amazon and coming out of China with this stuff. I mean, I wouldn't eat anything from China if you paid me. Their stuff is so full with chemicals. I've had horrible reports from people buying food on Amazon. Horrible. We've tried stuff for our cats. Horrible. Breakout. Look terrible. I don't know what they're selling on Amazon from China, but there's a lot of garbage.
Well, they don't admit it, the companies that are buying their C60 from China and their oils from Costco. They don't admit it. They
God.
pretend that they're selling the peer-reviewed, which is us. We're the ones selling and manufacturing the peer-reviewed in Houston, Texas. So it's good that you were the one that mentioned it. We try and be polite to the other companies, but we tested 22 online products
Uh-huh.
in 2022 when everybody was staying home because of the flu thing.
Yeah,
And
the flu.
so we bought everybody's products and we tested them in the lab, and our guys, their response was like this. They just kept shaking their head and they said woefully low concentration levels. So, probably the most spammy company of all that is slathered everywhere, probably deep state assisted, is selling what looks like good C60, but it's the lowest concentration of any. Their avocado oil was 1/10 of what their bottle claimed. Their olive
Oh
oil
my God.
was 1/3 of what the bottle claimed. Now, our bottles make a claim. This has 0.86 milligrams per milliliters. It was tested 3 times in our lab before we bottled it. And when we test in a big machine called an HPLC, high
Okay.
performance liquid chromatography. And in this machine, there's no doubt you can measure the amount of C60 concentration, or ESS60 in our case, and theirs were just constantly lower than expected, stunningly lower. So, they're probably doing it in a garage or a basement, most likely buying it from China. And we don't guarantee any other products other than our ESS60 from Houston, Texas. And we don't really feel like we have competition because we're the lab and we're making what we call the good stuff because it's the evolution from the industrial grade C60 industry to the ESS60 formula for people and pets that won the Nobel Prize, that received the 90% extension of life results. And it all comes from us. And that's why we have so many oils and so many products, and everything we put it in works. Even this yummy smelling cream. Not only is it this luscious body lotion that smells divine and makes you want your partner, but it also smooths your skin and softens the surface of your skin. The facial formulas are really quickly noticeable, and most of our testimonials say, "My friends tell me." Because, we can look in the mirror and see the same thing no matter what. But when other people are saying, "What are you doing? You look better," that's when we start to feel like, this product does work. And when you've got something with these ingredients that you can pronounce and understand,
Yes,
it makes a
yes.
big difference from facial serums that are really expensive and you can't pronounce any of the ingredients. This is the real deal. That's, shall we say, synthetics.
I started reading what's in some of these facial creams, and it shocked me.
Yeah.
And then there's what's on the ingredients label, and then there's what's really in them. And they're two totally different things. And when you get to what's really in these creams, and you wouldn't believe the number of garage shops that I ran into in Russia, and they can make themselves look like a big company as they mix their products in a dusty garage. Unbelievable. You're right. There's so many backyard places that do so much garbage and they put out a bad product.
Well, I just want to tell people when you go looking for C60 Evo, be sure you get ESS60, not industrial grade C60, because there's a huge difference. One is good for you, the other is borderline questionable. We've also seen companies that are selling C60 blended in water. Chris and Robert at the lab go, "Ha ha ha, it's not water soluble." We've seen people bragging about supercharged C60, and we've tested it. It's charcoal. So we've seen nano onions claimed as, excellent C60, 1,000 times stronger. Well, it's a nano onion, which is not exactly, anyway. We've got 34 years of experience in a professional lab. These guys are so straight, they squeak. They got me in. I'm the woo woo from Colorado. And the combination of his science and my crazy energy has brought us to the place where we can speak to all audiences and deliver products that make a difference to biker chicks like me and scientists like Chris in the lab. And a lot of influencers are really benefiting from the products because you guys have to go through a lot of news to come up with the goods.
Well, yeah, and with what I do, I have to come up with well, let's just say I'm sort of in a war with the deep state.
I think
That's
we
all I'm
all
going to
are.
say. Well, if you watch my programs and you understand what I do, you'll understand that there's a internal conflict going on, and I'm at the forefront. When Air Force One went down, I warned them on Wednesday, and it went down on Thursday with the president and Melania in Air Force One. But I warned them on 12 channels and all over the net. You've got problems with Air Force One, and they didn't listen this time. So that's one of 100 for Trump. So I'm sort of in the forefront of this. Um, so I need products that keep me healthy and alive and awake.
No
Because
kidding.
obviously it's not just a physical war, it's a spiritual war. And so I need something that is going to give me a boost and say, here, get up out of bed and join the fight. Because this has been going on for me since 2007 when I went to Russia.
Hmm.
And we pulled nukes out of Iran and stopped the war. They had 346 of them. So I've been at war for a long time. And this, I think, after reading all the literature and starting this, I think this is exactly what I've been looking for.
Oh, good. Well,
ESS60. Now, what your website is C60 Evo, right?
evolution. So I would want
Evolution.
people to know that it's evolution, c60evo.com/William Mount is how they're going to find us. And
Well, let me put that down. That's really important. C
c60evo.com forward
Evo
slash your name.
William.
And
Done.
that way people can see a peek of our website, a lot of our best products, and they'll also have a secret link that will be giving them 10% off at checkout.
Oh,
And that's only yours. And we have all kinds of discounts for people. But I want Chris to explain what it is about clearing the mitochondrial debris that makes C60 work and help the brain so much, because I think this is the most fascinating scientific explanation of why our products work.
So
well, the
what Patty's,
mitochondrial, go ahead.
go ahead, William.
Apparently, removing the mitochondrial debris increases the mitochondria activity, which decreases the weight. That's what it says in the literature. Hmm.
Yeah. So imagine this, right? What Patty's talking about is the BOSS theory, the buffering oxidative stress system. So we know from peer-reviewed published research that this ESS60 molecule gets into the mitochondria. We also know from way back in the 90s that this can hold up to 6 negatively charged particles on the exterior of this cage. So
Okay.
what that means is if you think about kind of refresher mitochondria, powerhouse of every cell, there's between
Right.
50 and 5,000 mitochondria in every cell in your body, except for blood cells, which have 0, and brain and neurons, which have 2 million. That's how much energy our nervous system uses,
Wow.
relative to
Two
our other
million.
systems. Yeah. So like every power source, there is a negative byproduct. You think about your car going down the road, there's exhaust. You think about a power plant, it's
Right.
got smoke coming out of the smokestack. In the case of mitochondria, it's producing reactive oxygen species. The way I picture these, when they're allowed to run amok in the body, they're like little bumper cars, rusting everything they bump into, causing oxidative stress, oxidative damage, and ultimately inflammation. And that's where this ESS60 molecule comes in. Well, at least when you stress a mitochondria, it starts producing extra reactive oxygen species. By the way, those are normally handled by glutathione and melatonin. I love
Okay.
to pause here for a second because melatonin is the sleep hormone, and one of our most consistent testimonials is better sleep, right? So we've got some nice parallels here. So again, the glutathione and the melatonin manage those reactive oxygen species in a healthy and relatively unstressed mitochondria. The problem happens when you stress your mitochondria. Now, I kind of like to point out, how do you stress your mitochondria? Well, that just means you're alive in this modern society, right? Because you've got pollution, you've got the stress of traffic. If you take an airplane flight, there's extra EMF, you've got sun exposure. All of these things will stress your mitochondria. And at that point, they start producing extra reactive oxygen species that can run around like those little bumper cars and do damage. And that's where the ESS60 molecule comes in. We know again from peer-reviewed published research that this gets into the mitochondria. And what it's doing is holding on to those reactive oxygen species so they don't do any damage. They don't run around and cause oxidative stress, oxidative damage, ultimately inflammation. What they're doing is being held on by this molecule. And then when the mitochondria can replenish the glutathione, replenish the melatonin, then it can manage those reactive oxygen species appropriately. And so I've got a fun analogy. I believe all biological analogies should start with Mardi Gras, right? Like a lot of
Okay.
biology happens at Mardi Gras. So you have
Okay.
these drunk reactive oxygen species running around on Bourbon Street after Mardi Gras, doing their oxidative stress, smashing cars, windows, painting, spray painting stuff. And the New Orleans Police Department, the glutathione and melatonin come onto Bourbon Street, handcuff themselves to those reactive oxygen species, and get them off of Bourbon Street. But what does the New Orleans Police Department do when they get overwhelmed? They take those reactive oxygen species and they stick them in a paddy wagon, right? They attach them to the ESS60 molecule so they can't do any damage. And then when you replenish the glutathione, replenish the melatonin, then they can handcuff themselves to those reactive oxygen species and get them off of Bourbon Street. And that's why we say that the ESS60 molecule is the boss, a buffering oxidative stress system. And ultimately, what that means is we believe we're reducing the negative impact of stressed mitochondria. And if you're reducing the negative impact of stress mitochondria, you will have exactly what we have, which is head to toe testimonials about our product.
So the C60 gets in there, grabs onto all these mitochondria waste things, and then exits your body with a waste.
Actually,
and then you
no.
take.
We believe that it holds on to them and stays in the mitochondria. So it's just supporting your body's natural processes, right? So
Okay,
think of it like this. It's a bucket for that extra stress, right? And so you just throw it in that bucket.
okay.
And then when that mitochondria replenishes the glutathione and melatonin, it grabs it out of that bucket and manages it the way the body normally manages it.
So it clamps onto this waste, and then your body goes onto that C60 molecule and removes it from the body.
Yeah. And
Oh, so
again,
that's how we double the age.
and again, well, in those rats, absolutely. Again, we really think of C60 as a molecule for industrial applications, and there is
Okay.
peer-reviewed published research that proves it's harmful if it's processed improperly. ESS60 is C60 that's been processed for people and for pets.
You are right about it being worth more than gold. I looked up the sale value of C60 raw for industrial uses. It is expensive.
Yep,
And this
very
is from
expensive.
cheap labs that produce garbage C60. The real ones that produce the real C60 aren't $225 an ounce. We're talking tens of thousands of dollars for the real pure C60. I looked it up before we went on the show.
You do your research. That's pretty awesome.
Well,
Yeah, you
I
don't want to
watched
hold on to it.
I
You want
watched
to go ahead.
I watched your show from 2 hours ago, 2 hours before we started this one. I always like to know what the influencer is up to, what they're thinking before we start an interview. That's just my thing. And I was like, God, that's not the William Mount I saw last year. He's on fire. I mean, you're just blowing out news like boom, 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 boom. And I thought, oh man, he's taken a lot of our product. I'm really proud. But you're only starting it, so I can imagine in a month of regular use, you're going to be amazed. And it really is not just that the brain has 2 million mitochondria. For me, it's also about the spiritual journey that a lot of us are on. The pineal gland
Right,
is right there with the brain, and the calcification from all of the toxins in the water and the food and the chemtrails are building up in our systems. And then the poor people that got the shots that are getting all those terrible long white things in their veins are also really clogging up their pineal gland. And that's where the ESS60 is just kind of unclogging every element of our body slowly but surely. And I've been on it 6 years every day. And I'm pretty hard to fool these days. I watch and listen extremely carefully. I got through college. I mean, I always got great grades and I never did a lot of reading, but I always listened real carefully and I follow. So I don't miss much, but now with ESS60 brain, I feel kind of untouchable. This is the beastly bottle. This is for hardcores or big offices where the boss says, I want 30% more action out of my staff. Oh, ESS60, stick that next to the coffee machine with a bunch of spoons. And boy, do we get great letters when that happens. For
I
people
hadn't
that
thought about mixing
travel,
it in the coffee. I guess I
oh,
could. Yeah.
the coconut oil is what I use in my coffee, and I start every
Okay.
day with this. Um, Delicious in coffee, delicious in tea or in a shake. Olive oil, great on a spoon because you don't want to waste any of it with food. You want to put this right in your mouth. But people that don't love oil love the capsules. And if you
Yes.
fly or travel, they won't take this out of your suitcase like they might a bottle of oil. We also have avocado oil, which is almost as strong as the olive, but the one that's our number one seller, because it's been used in all the peer-reviewed tests, is the olive oil. So this is the one that we usually talk about, and we make the pet products for dogs and cats with the olive oil formula, and we just put in a little salmon oil for the cats, a little bacon oil for the dogs, and a lot of men have written me, well, I want the bacon oil one. It's like, that's fine, take it. It's just natural bacon in olive oil. So, we trick the dogs with the scent, but it's just the good stuff, the ESS60 in the strong formula. So you can take it in your mouth in the morning. Our number one, we call it our starter set, is the edible olive oil and the facial serum. Really
Okay.
great place to start because it's inside and out. You are going to see a difference probably, or people around you will see you looking and feeling different. My mom is 96. She will not
Okay.
run out of Evo. She takes it every morning. She uses the facial serum. Her skin is glorious and amazing, and she's outlived most of her friends, which is the sad thing. But she still reads novels at 96 years old because her brain is still amazing. Her dog is a 17-year-old Shih Tzu that should be like a mummy by now, but the dog is on C60 Evo for dogs, and it's still rolling. So we are extending the lifespan of so many people and pets. My daughter has two cats that are 18 and 20. You wouldn't know it, but they're 18 and 20. So, we are kind of living examples. And myself, you think you've been fighting the deep state, you have. I also made a lot of UFO movies, received a lot of awards, and had my
Oh,
own. Oh, I've been through at least as bad as you.
oh,
And that's what got me on the C60 Evo. Yeah, was that they tried to take me out a couple times. Last year I had two hip replacements, and I was back on the air 5 days after my hip replacement, first one.
wow.
My brain was totally back because I didn't need their pain pills. When you take olive oil every day, you lubricate your joints and bones. And I found that I lasted bone on bone longer than anyone the surgeons had ever seen. When I went interviewing doctors, they all looked at my x-rays and looked at me and they were like, "How'd you do that?" And I'm like, C60 Evo, can I give you a sample? No, we're doctors. We cut people open. Okay. Anyway, I always have a sample in my purse because I know for a fact that it has saved my life more than twice. And it has really helped me get through hip replacements and bone on bone without much pain. It lubricates your joints like crazy. So anybody 30 and over that's a hardcore runner or a hard hiker, if you've got something big that you're about to do that's athletically challenging, if you take this preventatively the day before, you will probably not notice the typical aches and pains the following day if you take the Evo. We call it preventative, and a lot of runners are really using it and finding a great advantage that they don't get tired, and needless to say, that they don't hurt the next day. So beneficial in so many ways. The 125 times more powerful than vitamin C as an antioxidant. Yeah,
Wow.
ESS60. I never get sick. I can't say that'll work for anybody else, but good chance it will because the immunity boost is massive. So you've got better immunity, better sleep, flexibility, endurance, and longevity. It's
Okay,
really,
we're coming to an end point because most of my videos are 20 minutes, but this is so fascinating. We've gone 40 minutes. And
uh-oh.
so, yeah. Well, that's okay. I don't mind it if you don't mind it. It's fascinating because we're talking about doubling the age of a rat. What do you think it's going to do to a human? Holy crud. I mean, we're talking about, well, if you're a human and you live an average of 70 years, we're talking about now living a lot longer. So I'm pretty excited about this. We're going to have to wrap it up. Evo dot, and then we'll say things off the air, of course. Uh, Evo,
C60. C60evo.com /William Mount. Our name, your name.
William Mount is fine. Where's my pen? Ah, there it is. Obviously, my desk is a mess because I go through a lot of news.
I bet. Well, I do want to mention that if people sign up for a monthly subscription, which is more than half of our customers, you'll save 20%. And even if you say no thank you 2 days from now, get the discount, sign up for a monthly. We won't even ask questions if you cancel. But the discount is really nice. We do 25% off anybody buying a case of 12 bottles. We sell a lot of those. And then we've got little gift sets. Like I said, the starter set with the inside out, wonderful combo. Any of our combos, two or more items, we take 15% off and then price it accordingly. So when they go to your link, c60evo.com /William Mount, they will see another discount, which is your secret code. That'll save them another 10% off at checkout.
Well, Patty, we're going to have to let you go. And I am very impressed. I was impressed enough to start using the product and not stop using the product. So I had a very strong reaction yesterday to it, which means it's doing my body good. Very strong reaction. And that's with one pill a day. Now I'm going to increase it to two. I'm thinking, what if I took this at 6 a.m., even before I had my coffee? I wouldn't be hungry. Oh, this is good. Okay,
And
I'll
if you
let you
try
two.
the MCT coconut oil in your coffee as well as the capsules, you'll be amazed.
That will go on the coffee. We'll let you go and we will see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you, William.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna Lynette Zhang was on she was a big YouTuber. And what happened was she said you have to say things